Welcome, beautiful buddy saint-germain family, to part 2 of the Q&A. I asked you guys, obviously on Twitter, to send me in your questions, and we're here to answer them. Part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, watch it either now or after. Predict which year you will have 100k subscribers. So at the moment, we are sitting on nearly 30k. Nearly 30k soon. 30k special, probably. I don't know what I will do, but I'll be happy. That's for sure. I'll be grateful. That's for sure. 100k. I don't know. I'm thinking it's a big milestone, but I'm thinking like 50k before 2025 ends. So 100k maybe before 2026 ends. I think that's gonna be the goal for 100k. Will be great getting it at the end of next season. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Would you rather prime Mbappe or prime PSG? I've already answered this question. Gotta go with prime Neymar. Who should PSG sign? As the reports are saying, a centre back and a right winger. Kunde or Trent? Kunde. Which player would you rather take in PSG squad, Messi or Ronaldo, based on their current football abilities? Obviously, I've actually answered them in the previous one, but I think I said like slightly Ronaldo because we've had Messi before, and obviously Kunde. Do you think Turkey going to be a Ballon d'Or contender in the next 2 to 3 years? Potentially. I think he has great ability. He definitely has Ballon d'Or as talent. It's all about can he showcase that game for game in the city. Because, you know, for example, at Lyon, the team was somewhat built around Turkey. He was the number 10. Will City do the same? I don't know. If they do the same, then yes. If they don't do the same, maybe. Would you rank this Champions League winning team in the all-time ranks? Great question. I mean, it's definitely top 10. The only thing that takes down this run is that we had, you know, a difficult start in the beginning. Yes, we had a very tough group stage, but we still struggled and so on. But how we did the knockout stages, we also had very tough knockout stages, you know, destroying the Premier League, winning the Premier League ahead of Liverpool, and then beating Inter Milan 5-0 in such a beautiful fashion. I don't know. It's a bit hard singing now at top of my head. At least top 10, maybe top 5. Nuno Mendes this season or Carvajal from last season? Nuno Mendes from this season. I thought Carvajal was a bit overrated last season. It was really good for both Madrid and Spain, but for example, I think he finished like 4th, 5th in Ballon d'Or. That was disgusting. Do you think Pinaldo should retire this year? No. And I also did answer this question. Do you really think Due is anywhere near Yamal? Again, I said this before. I actually think I answered this before, but one thing I don't understand from Barca and Yamal fans is this, that like Yamal is here and then all the other great talents from the same generation are here. It's not like that. No, it's not 100% true. I think also this one I answered in the previous Q&A. Barca fan, I also did answer this question, and I said I would rather that my son is interested in football than my daughter. So I don't really care what any between Madrid and Barca. Can we know Laman's own to as opposed to Dembele? What's your opinion about Barca fans hating Dembele so much, although Dembele does again? Some of these I've answered in the previous Q&A. They're a bit. Dembele wasn't even best player for season. Why you happy? Again, I've answered this one before. Apologies for the viewers. Do it better than Yamal. If Dembele doesn't win the Ballon d'Or, football is fake. Vitina best sentiment in the world in top 3 all time. Okay. Dembele this season better than Mbappe prime? Yes. Pedro is all PR. He's not good? No. I don't know people rate anybody. No, a lot of people rate our players. Deschamps out? Yes, but we all know it's gonna happen after the World Cup. So yeah. Why did Dembele get hurt? Probably because he played a lot. Played the entire 90 minutes. Ran a lot in the Champions League final. And then obviously for the Nations League game. Mbappe PSG legend. Also answered this question, and unfortunately, yes. Would you replace Donnarumma? Who would you replace? I think it's very simple. If the worst thing happened and Donnarumma left the club, I mean, he has to be Lucas Chevalier. Do you think Dembele deserves the Ballon d'Or over Yamal because he had the better season, but concede that Yamal is the better player? Do you think he had a better season and is the better player? Yes, I do think Ousmane Dembele had the better season and is the better player. I mean, that's why I'm pushing Ousmane Dembele for the Ballon d'Or. He just hasn't had the best season overall. He is the best football player overall. I think one thing when it comes to Yamal is the dribbling. As we know, Osman Dembele, I mean, he's one of the best. I think he is the best dribbler in the world. It's just this season, he's compensated, playing obviously the false nine role, which means more goals, decisiveness, exactly what the team needed. Because obviously, when you're on the wing, you dribble way more than in the central area. He gets way less touches and so on. So I think that's the thing. Because if I tell you, is Yamal a better goal scorer than Dembele? No one will agree. If I tell some, this is actually very diluted, but some people think Yamal is a better playmaker than Dembele. I think Yamal is one of the best playmakers in the world, but he's not a better playmaker than Osman Dembele. So playmaking, that progressive carries, progressive passes, IQ, anything. The only thing Yamal this season has shown, with Dembele hasn't shown, is the dribbling. And you know, a lot of people, they love dribbling, they excited, and they've overhyped it too much. Like, I would much like Dembele's performance in the Champions League final, in my opinion. That's probably maybe better than Lamine Yamal's second or even first game versus Inter Milan, strictly because of the decisiveness. When it comes to the big games, when you're playing Eibar in La Liga, you can dribble, you can do all of that for the comps and everything. But when it comes to the bigger games, when it comes to the bigger stages, especially for Lamine Yamal, someone who trash talks a lot before games, it's all about decisiveness. All right, you're not going to win a game by 15 dribbles. You're going to win it by scoring a goal, which he failed to do. He had opportunities in both Inter ties, and he couldn't get the ball into the net only one time. So Osman Dembele is the better player than Lamine Yamal, especially when you look across the entire game, how both can impact a game and so on. So obviously Dembele is the better football player and has had the better season. Do you believe Yamal has a case for the Ballon d'Or? Is just all PR? Be honest, Mo. No, I do think Yamal has a case for the Ballon d'Or. Just like Rafinha has a case for Ballon d'Or, just like Hakimi has a case for Ballon d'Or. But I think him being like the strongest second candidate to Dembele is PR. It's 17 PR and all of that, 100%. Do you think Mbappe is going to be an all-time player, like top 5, 7, take away Mbappe hate? Obviously, what Mbappe has in the World Cup is really huge. That's something that's going to help him along his way for, you know, the legacy, the top 10. But he has to improve his club career. What, he's 27 this year. He has to start winning stuff. He has to start winning stuff, especially now that he is in Madrid. The pressure will be even more on him. You know, when he was at PSG, they always said, oh, PSG has no UCL. But Madrid is a club that has won the UCL. They won it 2 times in the 3 years before he joined. So there's a lot of pressure on Mbappe. Because of recency bias, I do think the mainstream people, because there are a lot of mainstream people that think Mbappe is still this great player. So unfortunately, when it comes to the casuals, yeah, I think Mbappe will be seen as that. But for someone like myself, someone that watches football, I mean, peak Mbappe, that's, you know, one of the best players I've seen, 21, 22 Mbappe in my lifetime. But overall, like, if we look at his career legacy, what people want to say, I don't think he will be top 5, 7. PSG win the Club World Cup, would you have them over 08, 09? Barca overall, great question there. That's probably, I mean, that team won the sextuple. Got Bayern as well in 1920, won the sextuple. I think the only 2 sides that have won the sextuple. And Paris Saint-Germain this season could potentially win the septuple. If we win the Club World Cup, Intercontinental Club, and the UEFA Super Cup, we'll have won 7 trophies in 2025 and will be the first team to have ever done that. But obviously, the Club World Cup did not exist back then, and it's a huge tournament going into the season. I think, yeah, if we win the Club World Cup, yeah, we're better than 08, 09 Barca, or at least more successful for sure. We add this UEFA Super Cup, the Intercontinental Club, and we are by far the most successful club in one calendar year of all time. And haters cannot argue with that. How do you think Dembele's... Yamal deserves Ballon d'Or, do you agree? Nope. Should we gonna have some interesting FIFA Club World Cup? This international break can cause some damage. I don't think it will be same intensity as the UCL, but it will still be high intensity. Maybe less in the group stage and more in the knockout stages where the game matter more and so on. There will obviously be more rotation as well in the Club World Cup, I feel. So slightly less about, still feels like a good game. We must got to have a big role next season, potentially. He's obviously going to be part of the Club World Cup, and I've already talked about this before, like a prediction. I said that Moscardo is going to be the Club World Cup, and I'm really excited to see him there. So that could lead, if he has a good Club World Cup, it will lead to him having something next season. And it doesn't look like we'll sign a midfielder. So yeah, Moscardo will have, I wouldn't say a big role, but he will have a role next season. I'm an AC Milan fan. What do you think is the next for Italian football all now, considering you and Inter lost back-to-back final with no financials? Will there ever be a UCL winner again from Italy? What should other leagues do to decrease financial gap with EPL? It's great you mentioned the financial gap with the Premier League, because all of the European top 5 leagues, apart from the Premier League, are fighting against the Premier League. They are basically the Super League. And the thing with Italy, Serie A, and even La Liga, the only thing with La Liga is that Barca and Madrid are so marketable that they can overcome the struggles in the league. But both La Liga and Serie A struggled and have been struggling ever since COVID. They are still, I don't even know if they're back to pre-COVID numbers. I don't think La Liga and Serie A are back to pre-COVID numbers when it comes to financials. And I can't see something magical, miracle happen. I think the only clubs in Italy that can be saved are the top clubs, and that is if a Super League is created. Because if a Super League is created, that's basically a Premier League for all the big clubs in the world, and that would resolve the Juve, Inter, and AC Milan situation. So if I was an AC Milan fan, I would pray every single day that the Club World Cup gets created. Is Angelo Ogbonna still the favorite for the Ballon d'Or? Unfortunately, no. But shout out to Ogbonna. Very OP centre-back. What was it? FIFA 15? He had a non-rare card, or FIFA 14 maybe. Verratti or David Silva? Marco Verratti. Do you think Pedri will ever be able to reach Vitinha's level, and why? The answer is no. I think Pedri and Vitinha, they are the two top midfielders, especially like in their position and so on, you know, the role that they have. And their performances, you know, I think Vitinha was better in 2024. Pedri was great in this beginning, but then when the biggest stages came, he shat his pants a bit. So that's why at the moment I'm opting for Vitinha. But I think both of them, like ability-wise, are both at the top, both similar, and then it fluctuates based on performances. We're so obsessed with Barca. I'm not really obsessed with Barca. It's more that I have to respond and react to the disgusting stuff coming out from Barca and its fan base. How many trophies will PSG win next season? So, I mean, UEFA Super Cup, Intercontinental Club are, you know, they're trophies next season, but they're more, you know, they're trophies we can win based upon what we did this season. But yeah, UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup, Ligue 1, Trophée du Champion, Coupe de France, and inshallah Champions League once again. So what's that? Six trophies? Messi or Ronaldo? I think Messi is a better football player. Who's more underrated, Fabian or Pacho? Great one there. I think Fabian. I think both in the Paris Saint-Germain fan base and in the non-Paris Saint-Germain fan base, I do think Fabian Ruiz is more underrated than William Pacho. Maybe it was Pacho in the beginning, but Pacho has received a lot of praise recently, a lot of prop and so on. So maybe Fabian, especially when you look at, you know, the Euros he recently had and the Champions League knockout campaign he had as well. Would you take Kim Min-jae at PSG? Absolutely no. Which team you enjoy watching other than PSG? Maybe Barca. Barca play really exciting football. I think they scored the most goals this season, slightly more than Paris Saint-Germain. So yeah, Flick, ever since he come to Barca, has made them play really entertaining football. Real Madrid, no. Bayern, no, they're a bit too slow possession-wise. Premier League, I don't watch Premier League. What are your thoughts on Doué when he first came to PSG? Interesting. First of all, I was mad with Doué because he had us waiting like 1 month because he wanted to finish off the Olympics. So I was already mad before he signed. Then, you know, he was toying with us when Bayern came and so on. And so Doué at PSG, I already had like an automatic agenda on him because I didn't like the way he treated the club during the transfer window. And then, you know, obviously he wasn't performing the best in the beginning, but after that, I mean, he made me eat my words up. Like, he was performing at such a high level. Everything I said was wrong, and I started supporting him. But my thoughts on Doué when he first came to PSG, I felt potentially the price was a bit overpriced, and I wanted more like an immediate quality. I was like, maybe Doué will take too long until, you know, we start seeing the best version of him, and we already had so many young players, and I felt we needed, you know, a top star in his prime years and so on. So I was wrong when it came to Doué, but yeah. Vitinha or Neves? This is a great one. Both of them are so good. Neves more complete than Vitinha. Vitinha, it's more that the stuff that he like. Neves is more the complete game. That's what makes him so good. Vitinha, it's more like he's a specialist. The stuff that he's good at, he's the best in the world at. And Neves is, I don't think there's any more midfielder complete in the world at the moment than João Neves. So I don't want to pick, man. You know what? I think Neves will go above Vitinha soon, so I would say Vitinha for the moment. What's your employment status? Self-employed YouTuber. I know you hate Messi fans and Messi, but do you think Messi is the GOAT? Yeah, I do think Messi is the greatest footballer of all time. Yamal, do it. Do it. Pedri, Vitinha, right? Nope. Is Barca fans the most delusional fanboys you have ever met? Is Ronaldo the best now? And I think the real Ballon d'Or is Hakimi. And do you sometimes think we don't deserve Nuno and Hakimi because sometimes they perform, but the team don't? Yeah, Barca are definitely the most delusional, football fans on Twitter. Is Ronaldo the best now? No. And I think the real Ballon d'Or is Hakimi. No, but I mean, he's a contender for it for sure. Do you sometimes think that we don't deserve Nuno Hakimi? No, I'm just very happy and grateful that they can perform for us. I mean, they've probably been the most consistent players for us in the Champions League because when we were underperforming in the group stage, Nuno and Hakimi were cooking for us. So very happy that they have always cooked for us. Ipinimas for 8 prayer. Ipinai. I guess this is in France. Just so you know, Azim, I don't live in France. No. So I live in Sweden. Wait, I can't even search it up. Epinai Musk. But I guess it's in France because a lot of people assume me to be from France. Yeah. No, I don't live in France. If you take a player from the Saudi League to PSG, would it be? Oh, interesting question. The Saudi lad. One player from Saudi I would take to PSG. Maybe Moussa Diaby, raw winger from the Paris Saint-Germain academy. Still a great age as well. Yeah, probably Moussa Diaby. Do you think Hakimi deserves more the Ballon d'Or than Dembele? No, I don't think so. Even Hakimi would say Dembele deserves it. Again, I don't like these questions because they're trying to put me in a difficult positions, but I would never this. Would you sell anyone in your team current if it meant winning the Champions League 5 more times? I mean, I would sell the 5 winning the I mean, I do think like futuristically we're gonna win the UCL 5 more times, but if you're saying like you're gonna win the next 5 or the next 5 in the next 10 years, then I mean I would sell the entire team. No. Would you sell anyone in your team current? Yeah, I would. What more Dembele have to do to win a Ballon d'Or? I mean, the Ballon d'Or is going to be given out in September, so we'll just have to wait. But he can improve his chances by cooking in the Club World Cup. No, Kylian Mbappe, it's mostly because of how he is as a human being. He's just not a good human being. He's a disgusting human being. The actions he's done, the stuff that he said, no remorse, huge ego, very arrogant. It's very hard for me to say something positive about Kylian Mbappe. Which player is so overrated, Yamal aside? Jude Bellingham. Jude Stinkingham. That's been it from boy PSGINT. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this Q&A. And as usual, allez Paris.